So, you're on your weight loss journey, you're trying to cut down, you're trying to lose the last 10, 15, even 20 pounds. You've been pretty consistent, but the last 15 or 20 pounds are the hardest. They're taking the most discipline, and you're constantly seeing the weight fluctuate. Have you ever noticed, you wake up one morning, for example, I'm going to tell you guys a story about what I've gone through recently. You wake up one morning, let's say it's a Monday, you're 173 pounds, you step on the scale, you're seeing progress, great. And then all of a sudden, a week later, maybe a week and a half later, you step on the scale again. And now, all of a sudden, you're 178 pounds. And you're thinking to yourself, did I just gain 5 pounds of fat in a week? What is going on? And then all of a sudden, you get super annoyed, you get super pissed off. So what you end up doing, this isn't working for me. And then you just go back to your normal habits. This happens to majority of people, and this is why they never see through their cuts, see through to the end of their fat loss, weight loss, or cut journey in order to get to the desired physique that they want to get to. Why? Because they don't have the patience to push through. So how this happened for me in the past week, I was 173 pounds around a week and a half ago. And this last week, I gained 5 pounds. Physically and theoretically on the scale, I've gained 5 pounds. But fat-wise, I haven't gotten a single pound. I haven't grown a single fat cell. So you might be asking yourself, okay, well, where's all this weight coming from? Well, for the past week and a half, I've been allowing myself, going to restaurants, getting a Chipotle here and there, going to an Indian restaurant that I do. Okay, it was good while I was eating it, but do I recommend going back there? Not really, unless you want momentarily pleasure. Indian food is amazing, the spices are just great, but either I ate too much or my stomach is just not used to the spices, because post-meal, my stomach was going upside down and flipping and turning, and I literally felt like I had a chemical lab experiment going on in my stomach. So if you indulge in Indian food, or if you make Indian food or eat Indian food a lot and you experience this, explain why. Is it the spices? I'm assuming so, but that's beyond the point. So what I'm trying to get to is these 5 pounds that I've put on, and you might be going through the same thing, is not actual fat. It's just water retention from high sodium and high processed foods. When you eat clean, strictly, for a prolonged period of time, your body gets used to it, and what it's able to do is process the food quickly, and you don't hold on to as much water weight, especially when you're on a calorie deficit. But when you decide to indulge, because we're all human here, we like to enjoy going out sometimes with our friends, and then when you're not very strict for those couple weeks and you want to let yourself go for a bit, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. What the end of the world is thinking that, okay, now I've gotten these 5 pounds and now I have to give up. No. So what I'm doing to get back on track and to lose these next 5 pounds and my last 3 pounds is exactly this. I'm not eating out for the next 3 to 4 weeks. Alright, I apologize if the audio is a little bit worse. My microphone just died, but I need to get this out to you guys. So what I'm doing, for the next 3 to 4 weeks, I'm avoiding all high water retention foods. Why? Because I want to get as tight as possible for summer. And you might be wanting to get as tight as possible for summer too. So what you need to do is eliminate highly processed, high sodium foods. This doesn't mean you can't add salt on your foods, because added salt is different than high processed sodium foods. What high processed sodium foods are is exactly why for the past week and a half I've gained 5 pounds and retained 5 pounds of water. And you might have gone through the same thing on your weight loss journey or cut, and you decided to give up. I'm not giving up. But this is what you can do in a week's time to kind of reset your body. You got to get, no more eating out for this next week, because I'm going back to my clean diet, or my regular routine or lifestyle that you've incorporated to. 2, what does this mean? What can you eat and what can you not eat? What can you eat? Whole foods. Seasoned yourself, salt, pepper, really just salt and pepper. All the other stuff is bullshit. I actually like a garlic pepper seasoning. That one's pretty good. Maybe lemon pepper too. But everything else is, if it's 0 calories, it's fine. But what you do not want to be seasoning your food with is, and this is the killer, this is the silent killer, because it's loaded with fats, it's loaded with sodium, and it will hold on to so much water weight, and you're going to look fluffy, and you're not going to like the way you look. It's, try to take a guess, sauces. High sugar, high sodium, high caloric sauces. So what do these look like? Barbecue sauce, ranch, I don't know why I can't think of too many, Caesar, just all that stuff that you buy from the convenience store, from the grocery store, from wherever you do your shopping, even Costco. Those are water retaining killers. So that's the first thing I do when I get off my refeeding period, because I like to do these every, I think 4 to 6 weeks, a window of refeeding, just to bring my body back up to a higher metabolic state, especially when I start feeling like tired, lousy, and like low on motivation, low on energy, because I've been in a cut for such a long period of time and a calorie deficit for such a long period of time. And why I go through these refeeding periods is to respike my metabolism, reactivate it, and tell it, okay, hey, we're still on this. We're going, And it allows me to, it's kind of like, think of, you're on your phone, right? You have 100% battery, and then eventually you're going to run out of battery, right? So just think of that with energy-wise on your calorie deficit in order to lose your fat. Eventually you're going to get to, 1%. And how long can you sustain 1% for? Some people can push through it and just keep going super aggressively, but the majority of us have lives, have jobs, have work, have other responsibilities. Some of us even have kids, right? And we need to basically bring our batteries back up to, might not be 100% because, it's just for a period of time, because we still want to be in an overall cut, but, at least to 80%. So this refeed period, yes, you might gain some water weight, but you're still in a calorie deficit, because most people look at calorie deficits in daily periods, but what you should be looking at is weekly and monthly periods. So overall, the overall trend is still a calorie deficit, but all you're doing is just refeeding yourself, or what I did, and, allowing yourself to live life, go out, enjoy, a couple drinks, some food, some restaurants and whatnot, but then go back to your daily routine and daily meal plans of the calorie deficit that is eventually going to bring you down to your desired weight, to your desired body fat percentage. Why is it important? Like I said, the battery recharge. Just think of it that way. If you recharge your batteries, you can go longer, you can go further, and it basically just allows you to keep going on a calorie deficit, in the sense of downtrend, instead of either plateauing, crashing, and then like most people, they get down 10 pounds, but then they can't keep going. So then they just refeed themselves, and then they keep going up and end up heavier than before they even started. So this is what prevents from dropping and then hiking back up, calorie and fat wise. So yeah, what you have to avoid, like I said, barbecue, high sodium foods. You can't really go out, and this is like the shitty part, because unless you really know what they're using to cook, and you're going to like high-end expensive restaurants, you don't really have this luxury, which is why home cooked meals are the best, because you know what you're seasoning your stuff with, you know what you're adding, you know how you're cooking it, because you've bought it from the grocery store as a whole chicken, for example, and instead of eating it at a restaurant as butter chicken like I did yesterday, it's just chicken with salt and pepper. And, if you want some 0 calorie hot sauce, that's great too. And this is what you have to remember. It's a long-term game. So it's okay if you bounce up, but then make sure to go back into your routine. And what else can I tell you guys? Like what I'm going to be avoiding for these next 4 weeks to get rid of this last 3 pounds, or get back to 173 and then finally get rid of the 3 pounds that I'm aiming towards to hit that 170 goal. Like I said, sauces, eating out, I'm really going to minimize that. Of course, minimizing alcohol. It's going to be shitty because I do have a bachelor party and wedding to go to, but those are the only days I'm really going to consume alcohol. And then what else is on the list? Avoiding, I have it written down here that I wanted to share with you guys. Really avoiding, high processed foods. Like, I know it's shitty to say, but like protein bars, they're healthy, but you really don't know what's in them. Dairy, just get rid of that stuff, especially if you're on a high, if you're on the lower end of your cut, it's not necessary. Flavored coffees, just stick to black or almond milk at least, because like I said, dairy, again, if you add a lot of milk, it's just going to bring your calories up. And then smoothies as well. Like I'm not a big fan of smoothies, especially if you buy the smoothies. If you make the smoothies yourself, yeah, put some water, some blueberries, and some whey protein just to get some extra protein. But if you're buying smoothies from like Booster Juice like I was, if you're buying smoothies from all these bars, just expect them to be 400 to 800 calories. It's just the honest piece of advice. So, like I said, it's not hard, it's not easy, it just requires a little bit of sacrifice. But if I can do it, I'm sure you can too. So, if you're on this journey with me, stick to it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you, and leave you like I always do. Subscribe if you're new. Create more than you consume. Serve others. Love everyone. Peace.